Canelo just signed a 4-fight deal with Turk El Sheikh and is no longer fighting Jake Paul in May. And Jake Paul is now crying, saying that Canelo ducked him like a clown. So who is Canelo fighting in these 4 fights? Well, he could potentially be fighting Jermall Charlo or Bruno Ross. Yes, the guy who knocked out Jaime Munguia in his hometown in May. And in September, he could be fighting Terrence Crawford. In February of 2026, he could potentially be fighting Dimitri Bivol once again, Hamza Shiraz, or Chris Eubank Jr. It has not been confirmed who Canelo will be fighting in October of 2026. Now, I'm very disappointed with this list of opponents for Canelo because the only tough opponent in there is Dimitri Bivol, which will be a very pointless fight if Dimitri Bivol loses to Archie Beterbiev once again in the rematch. Canelo should instead fight whoever the undisputed light heavyweight champion is in 2026, which could be Dimitri Bivol, Archie Beterbiev, or even David Benavidez. Talking about David Benavidez, why is he not on that list? Canelo versus David Benavidez is one of the biggest fights to make in boxing right now. Most of the guys on that list don't even fight at 168 and don't have the skill, speed, power, and experience to beat a guy like Canelo. Like, who wants to see Jermall Charlo versus Canelo? Nobody. Who wants to see Bruno Ross versus Canelo? Nobody. At that point, I would rather see Jake Paul versus Canelo.
Now, realistically, I think we all know why Canelo took this 4-fight deal with Turk El Sheikh, and that is simply because he knows he's going to be making a lot of money and he won't have to fight anybody challenging, since he also gets to choose who he wants to fight. So realistically, Canelo is just going to be having some easy money fights that make him look good. But here's the thing, although he signed a 4-fight deal with Turk El Sheikh, I still believe that after he has those fights, the fight with him and Jake Paul is definitely still on the table, because whether real boxing fans want to admit it or not, Canelo versus Jake Paul will be a huge fight, since both Canelo and Jake Paul sell, and since they have beef, there would definitely be a lot of tension in the build up to that fight. And not only that, but it will also be very entertaining to see Jake Paul versus Canelo. And I say that simply because we want to see how this fight will play out. We want to see if Jake Paul will put up a good fight, since Jake Paul is a YouTube boxer who is seen as a clown, but he is the bigger and younger man who has some experience against real fighters, not the best fighters, but real fighters nevertheless. So this fight could end up being bigger than the Mike Tyson fight, and performance-wise, it would definitely be better than the Mike Tyson fight. And since Canelo has already said in the past that he'll welcome this fight when he retires, we might actually see this fight when he retires or when he's done with his 4-fight deal. But in the end, let's hope that the other 3 fights that haven't been confirmed turn out to be good and competitive fights. Let's hope that Turk El Sheikh is able to persuade and guide Canelo to take those big and tough fights that we all want to see. And those big fights will be against guys like David Benavidez, Dimitri Bivol, and Archie Beterbiev.